Hello fellow sim racers, and welcome to a video about RFactor 2, which is something I've not done in a very long time. And as the video progresses, I'm going to try and explain why that is, but first I'm going to try and get through turn 1 alive, which is no small feat at the Nürburgring. Though, to be fair to the RFactor 2 AI, they are by far the best behaved turn 1 AI in any racing sim. I mean, if you compare that to something like Assetto Corsa Competizione, which is probably the sim I've spent most time in recently at least, the AI is often absolutely stationary there as the yellow Radical gets very out of shape on the curb and throws me for 6 a bit. Anyhow, this is not really meant to be a video about the RFactor 2 AI or Nürburgring or the Radical SR3 XX, although I am actually really enjoying this car, which is kind of a surprise to me. Not that I'm enjoying a Radical. I think Radicals are always quite fun in racing sims, but they're pretty much available in every racing sim. They're one of those sort of ubiquitous choices, as I give the blue guy a little bit of a rub there. Probably unnecessary. Just get around the outside of him into the NGK chicane. Totally normal, not terrifying things. Anyhow, the reason I'm making this video, and the reason I've been spending a lot of time in RFactor 2 over the last couple of weeks actually, is my gaming experience in RFactor 2 has changed dramatically for the better over the last few weeks. And in part that's because of the new content, but only a small part of it. The rest of it, as I really failed to send one up the inside of the red and grey car there, the main part of it actually is force feedback, which isn't something that RFactor 2, oh sorry, I should say Studio 397, it's not something they've changed recently, but I've changed my wheel from a Simucube based open sim wheel setup to Fanatec direct drive setup, because I take far too much curve and look like a bit of an amateur, which I am, so that's totally fine. Anyhow, changing wheels has allowed me to experience the RFactor 2 force feedback in a way that's much more similar to how I used to experience it when I had a belt-driven wheel. Now that sounds a bit mad, you might think, but I used to really enjoy the RFactor 2 force feedback back when I had a T300. I think it felt very, very, very good compared to the other sims then. And when I switched over to direct drive, I just couldn't replicate the feeling. And that has a lot to do with the force feedback signal itself that comes direct from the game. It's nothing really to do with the wheels. The RFactor 2 force feedback signal is very, very spiky. It's very aggressive. And I think in those gear and belt driven wheels, that gets sort of smushed out a bit, for want of a better word, of which there are many, I'm sure. That sort of gets sort of attenuated by some of the natural sort of mechanical nature of the system, but also there's just not as much torque there. It's not delivering some of the really fine details and the big spikes. But as soon as you get onto a direct drive setup, the raw signal is a bit of a pig. When you hit bumps and go over curbs and stuff, it will rip your hands off. And if you start turning the overall force feedback power down to sort of counter that, you lose what makes the RFactor 2 force feedback great, which is the ability to feel the weight transfer of the car. And before Assetto Corsa Competizione, I really feel like it was the only racing sim that I could truly feel what the tyres were doing and where the weight was pushing around. And I felt like I lost that until I went over to the Fanatec system, which has a bunch of extra controls and filters over the Simucube OSW system that have just allowed me to get the force feedback dialed in a way that just really works as I try and select the lowest gear in the box there, which is a very bad idea. So anyway, I've got the force feedback feel back again to the way I like it, and it's a joy to drive. But there's one other thing that's changed, and, well, just look around. RFactor 2 all of a sudden has gotten really beautiful. Studio 397 have done a fantastic job over the last couple of years of gradually making RFactor 2 look better and better. But I think this last update, which has affected how the lighting and reflections work. It's just something's really clicked. And what felt like quite a tired looking sim a couple of years ago, all of a sudden looks pretty modern. And, you know, that's probably something that as a sim racer I shouldn't be too concerned about, as the visuals, but you know what? It does make a difference. You know, I'm driving in here because I can't drive out in the real world for, you know, all sorts of reasons, not least of all talent, based on the fact that I tried to turn in there on the grass. But I don't have a death wish. I know my own limitations. Let's try and run around the outside of him here. Other side of the NGK chicane might be a bit too far back. We're going to try it anyway. Yeah, I would never, ever try that in real life. Anyhow, yeah, so for me, you know, how a sim looks does matter. It's not the most important thing in the world. The driving experience is really important, but we've got 3 or 4 sims that drive really, really well as it is. So I think, you know, the visual experience was something that was holding RFactor 2 back a bit for a lot of people, you know, myself included. And to see it looking as good as this is music to my ears, or, you know, reflections to my eyes. Oh, I don't feel good about that last one. Anyhow, this is the sort of quality you can come to expect on Channel 2. Anyhow, I just wanted to make a video explaining how much I'm really enjoying RFactor 2 again. You know, and that's testament to the amount of work that Studio 397 have put in to pull everything together, from the, you know, the content teams, the track and car teams, to the physics, which are still being constantly tweaked and improved, to the people doing the UI, to the visuals, everything else. Everything is just gradually moving forward, and it's keeping it relevant, it's keeping it in the game. I wanted to say something positive about a sim that I've not given a lot of coverage to recently, and, you know, that's my own loss, actually. I think having taken a couple of months away has given me this stark realization that it's gotten better, but I've missed out on a lot, and I'm looking forward to, over the next few weeks, going back and really going over all the new content that I've not given the attention that it really deserves. Anyway, we've made it to the end of the race. Where did we finish? 4th. I can handle that. I think I started 12th on the grid, so that's not too bad. That being said, the AI was only at 105% because I wanted to chat to you guys and not have to concentrate too hard on driving. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you haven't checked out the video that I've not yet made about all of this content over on the main channel, I've planned it. I've recorded the footage, but I've not actually done any of the talking or the script writing or editing or any of that yet, so not entirely sure what it looks like. Do go and check that out, because we've been featuring all the new RFactor 2 content, including the 2 new Formula E tracks, which are really, really well done, if that's your kind of thing. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and enjoy the rest of your day.